The chamber of the Galactic Council hummed with a low, electric pulse, its walls shimmering with fractal patterns that shifted like liquid starlight. 1,000 alien eyes or their equivalents fixed on the holographic figure at the center. Dr. Elena Voss, Earth's ambassador, her image crisp despite the light years separating her from the apex nexus. The station orbited a neutron star, its gravity a subtle threat woven into the Council's grandeur. The Viren, telepathic and eel-like, coiled in their levitation pods, their minds probing for weakness. Krath warlords, encased in obsidian armor, loomed like statues, their claws twitching. The Sylar, a hive mind of insectoid drones, chittered in unison, their collective gaze unnerving. Voss stood unmoved, her jaw set, her dark eyes scanning the assembly. Humanity's antimatter technology, intoned the Viren speaker. Its voice a psychic ripple that made Voss's skin crawl. Endangers galactic stability. Surrender it or face isolation and pacification. The word pacification carried the weight of centuries' worlds reduced to ash, species broken. The Krath growled approval, their gauntlets sparking against the chamber's floor. The Silars, chittering spiked, a cacophony of agreement. Voss's lips twitched, not in fear but in defiance. "You call it a threat," she said, her voice steady, cutting through the alien din. "We call it progress. Earth doesn't bow to ultimatums." A ripple of outrage swept the Council. The Viren speaker's bioluminescent scales flared. "Insolence," it hissed. "Your species, barely a century in the stars, dares challenge us? Your colonies are dust specks, Mars, Europa, Titan. Your fleets are toys." A Krath warlord slammed a claw into the floor, cracking the crystalline surface. "Surrender the tech, or we burn your worlds," it rumbled. Voss leaned forward, her hologram flickering faintly. "Burn us? You don't know what you're asking for." She cut the transmission, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. On Earth, the Global Assembly convened in a bunker beneath Geneva, its walls lined with screens displaying star charts and economic projections. President Afolabi paced, his gray hair catching the harsh light. "They're strangling us," he said, gesturing at a graph showing trade routes collapsing under the Council's embargo. "No shipments to Europa, no fuel for Mars. If we give in, we're their vassals. If we fight, we're outgunned." Admiral Lin Zhao, her uniform crisp, tapped a console, pulling up a classified file. "We're not as helpless as they think," she said. "Dr. Kane's got something they won't see coming." Dr. Malik Kane, a wiry physicist with a penchant for breaking rules, stood before the assembly, his augmented glasses glinting. "The Council thinks antimatter's just a power source," he said, his voice clipped. "They're wrong. We've weaponized it, Project Prometheus. It's not a bomb, it's a game changer." Murmurs rippled through the room. Afolabi raised a hand. "Details, Kane. Now." Kane grinned, pulling up a hollow schematic of a sleek, angular drone. "Meet the Spectre. Autonomous, stealth-capable, armed with antimatter warheads. Small enough to slip past their sensors, precise enough to cripple their infrastructure without genocide. We hit their supply lines, they'll beg to talk." Zhao nodded, her mind already calculating. "We'd need to deploy them fast before their fleets reach us." Afolabi turned to Voss, her face now on a secure vidlink. "Elena, you were there. Can we pull this off?" Voss's expression was steel, the Council's arrogant. "They think we're bluffing. They're not ready for what we've got." A young delegate, Ishe Rahman, spoke up, her voice trembling. "But firm. What if they retaliate? Our colonies can't take a direct hit." Kane's grin faded. "They won't get the chance. Spectres don't miss." The assembly debated, voices rising. Some urged compliance. Earth cities were still scarred from the climate wars, its population barely stabilized. Others saw surrender as death by degrees. Zhao slammed her fist on the table. "We've clawed our way from the brink before. 50 years ago, we were burning our own world. Now we're out here, building colonies, cracking antimatter. The Council thinks we're weak because we're young. Let's show them what young means. Apholabi's eyes met hers, then Kane's, then Voss's. He exhaled. We reject the ultimatum. Kane, get Prometheus ready. Zhao, mobilize the fleets. Elena, stall. Them. Voss reconnected to the Apex Nexus, her hologram reappearing before the Council. The VRN speaker's scales pulsed with irritation. Your decision, human? It demanded. Voss's smile was cold. We're keeping our tech. And if you push, US, you'll regret it. The Krath roared, their armor clanking as they surged forward. The Sylar's chittering reached a fever pitch, their drones swarming the chamber's edges. The VRN speaker raised a fin, silencing them. You invite ruin, it said. Our fleets will crush your worlds. Voss's voice dropped, almost. A whisper. Try it. See what happens. Back on Earth, Kane's lab on Europa buzzed with activity. Technicians swarmed over Spectre prototypes, their hulls gleaming under harsh lights. Antimatter reactors hummed, their containment field stable. But ominous. Kane barked orders, his glasses flashing with data. Calibrate the AI for evasive maneuvers. We get one shot at this. Ayesha, now part of the team, adjusted a drone sensor array, her hand steady despite the stakes. These things are beautiful, she muttered. Kane snorted. Beautiful's not the word. Terrifying's closer. Zhao's fleets mobilized, outdated frigates and cobbled-together cruisers lifting off from lunar shipyards. Pilots, some barely out of training, ran final checks, their faces grim. Earth cities hummed with purpose factories, churned out drone components. Coders refined Spectre algorithms. Miners on asteroids harvested fuel. A broadcast from Apholabi rallied the planet. We've faced extinction before. We didn't break then, we won't now. The words echoed in homes, in bunkers, in colony domes. Humanity, battered but unbroken, was ready to fight. The Council's response came swiftly. Krath warships, massive and bristling with plasma cannons, jumped into Earth's outer system, their silhouettes blotting out stars. Sylar swarms followed, their drones glinting like a plague. The Vren's psychic broadcast warned of compliance or annihilation. Earth sensors tracked the armada, its scale staggering. Zhao, aboard her flagship, studied the data. They're not here too. Talk, she said. Kane's voice crackled over the comm. Good, neither are we. Asisha, monitoring Spectre telemetry, whispered, let's make them choke on their arrogance. Voss, still linked to the Council, bought time. You underestimate us, she told the VRN speaker. Every species you've crushed was alone, we're not. The speaker's mind brushed hers, probing, but found only resolve. Foolish, it said. Your defiance seals your fate. Voss laughed, a sound that startled even the Krath. Our fate? You're about to learn what humans do with threats. She cut the link, her hologram vanishing. The Council's chamber erupted in chaos, unaware of the storm humanity was about to unleash. Dr. Malik Kane's lab on Europa was a fortress of controlled chaos. Antimatter reactors pulsed with a faint blue glow, their containment fields humming like a heartbeat. Technicians darted between consoles, their screens alive with holoschematics of the Spectre drones. Kane stood at the center, his augmented glasses streaming data as he barked orders. Recalibrate the stealth emitters. We need zero signature at jump emergence. Ayesha Rahman, her sleeves rolled up, tweaked the drone's propulsion core, her fingers deft despite the pressure. These things are ghosts, she said, almost to herself. Kane's grin was sharp. Ghosts with teeth. Each Spectre carries an antimatter payload enough to gut a Council depot without touching a civilian. He pulled up a projection of the drone, sleek, angular, its hull absorbing light like a void. Autonomous AI, predictive targeting, faster than anything the craft or Sylar can track. This is Prometheus humanity's middle finger to the galaxy. In Geneva, Admiral Lin Zhao briefed Earth's Global Assembly via secure link. Her voice was steel, her eyes scanning the faces of leaders on the holotable. "We're not fighting a war of attrition," she said. "We hit their supply lines, fuel hubs, cum relays, antimatter refineries. Cripple their logistics, and their fleets stall. The Spectres let us do that without slaughter." President Afolabi leaned forward, his brow furrowed. "And if they trace the drones back to us?" Zhao's lips tightened. "They won't. Kane's stealth tech is airtight. We strike, vanish, and let them choke on their own arrogance." A delegate from the Mars colonies, her voice rough from years in low atma, asked, "How many drones?" Zhao's answer was curt, "Enough. Hundreds deployed in waves, targeting 12 key systems." The room buzzed with cautious hope. Afolabi nodded. "Do it. And pray we're as clever as we think." Earth's war machine kicked into gear. Factories on Luna churned out Spectre components, their assembly lines a blur of robotic arms and human hands. Coders in Bangalore and Lagos refined the drone's AI, patching evasion algorithms in real time. Miners on Ceres hauled antimatter precursors, their rigs glowing against the asteroid's dark crust. Aishia, now a lead tech in Kane's team, worked double shifts, her eyes bloodshot but focused. She'd named her prototype Wraith, a nod to its elusiveness. "You better work," she muttered, sealing its payload bay. A nearby tech, a kid barely 20, grinned. "If it doesn't, we're all dust." Aisha's laugh was grim. "Then let's not screw up." Across the system, Zhao's fleets ran diversionary drills, outdated cruisers weaving through Saturn's rings to draw Council scouts. Pilots bantered over comms, their bravado masking fear. "Craft ships are big," one said. "Big targets." Another shot back. Zhao, aboard her flagship Resolute, monitored their chatter, her mind on the Spectres. The drones were launching from hidden bays on Europa, their jump drives spooling up. Kane's voice crackled over her secure line. "First wave's away. 8 to targets. 6 hours." Zhao exhaled. "No recalls, Malik. This is it." Kane's reply was dry. "Wouldn't dream of it, Admiral." "Let's make 'em scream." At the apex nexus, the Galactic Council seethed. The Viorn speaker's scales flickered with rage as it relayed Earth's defiance. "They reject our terms," it told the Assembly, its psychic voice sharp. The craft warlord, Goruth, slammed a claw into the chamber's floor, sparks flying. "Their fleets are relics. We crush them now." The Sylar hive mind chittered, their drones forming fractal patterns in the air. "Patience," they buzzed. "Isolation will break them first." The Vren's mind brushed Gorath's, calming his fury. "The embargo is in place. No trade reaches their colonies. Their economy dies in weeks." But unease rippled through. "The Council," a Sylar subnode hissed, "their ambassador's confidence. Unnatural." Goruth snorted. "Bluff. Humans are vermin." The Viorn speaker silenced them. "We dispatched the Krath Third Armada. Intimidation will suffice." The Armada jumped into Earth's outer system, its warships casting shadows across Neptune's moons. Krath dreadnoughts, bristling with plasma turrets, broadcast demands for surrender. Sylar swarms trailed them, their drones a glittering cloud. Earth's sensors lit up, tracking the fleet's advance. In Geneva, Afolabi watched the data, his hands clenched. "They're not attacking yet," he said. Zhao, linked from the Resolute, nodded. "Posturing. They think we'll crack." She switched to a classified feed, showing the Spectre's progress. The drones were halfway to their targets, cloaked and silent, threading through hyperspace. "If Kane's right," she said, "they'll never see these coming." On Europa, Kane monitored the Spectre's telemetry, his glasses flashing with jump coordinates. Asha handed him a tablet with updated AI patches. "Wraith's leading the pack," she said. "Its targeting's locked on a craft fuel depot in the Orion Arm." Kane scanned the data, nodding. "Good. If we take out their refineries, their fleets limp home or starve." A tremor shook the lab, Europa's ice crust shifting, but no one flinched. They'd grown used to the moon's groans. A tech piped up. "What if the Council's got countermeasures?" Kane's eyes narrowed. "They don't. Their tech's advanced but predictable. They've ruled too long to innovate." Asha raised an eyebrow. "Hope you're right, Doc." Kane's grin returned. "I'm always right." Earth civilians poured into the effort. Volunteers in Tokyo designed Spectre decoys, their workshops humming with 3D printers. In Nairobi, engineers rigged backup reactors for the drone bays, their hands stained with coolant. A vid feed from Mars showed colonists reinforcing domes, their faces set with defiance. A young pilot, patching her fighter in a lunar hangar, told a reporter, "The Council thinks we're soft. They don't know what soft costs us." The broadcast spread, rallying billions. Zhao, watching from the Resolute, felt a surge of pride. "This is why we win," she murmured. "Not tech, us." The Spectres neared their targets, their A's humming with purpose. Kane's lab fell silent as the first wave approached a craft depot, a massive orbital platform churning antimatter fuel. Asha's Wraith led the strike, its stealth field bending light around it. Kane leaned over a console, his voice low. "Come on, baby. Show 'em what humans do." The drone's sensors locked on, its payload armed. Across the galaxy, other Spectres closed in on their targets, a silent swarm ready to upend the Council's empire. Earth held its breath, its fate riding on a fleet of ghosts. The Spectre drone struck like lightning from a clear sky. Asiso's Wraith led the assault on a craft fuel depot in the Orion Arm, its stealth field unraveling only as its antimatter warhead detonated. A pinpoint pulse of light erased the depot's core, leaving its outer rings spinning uselessly, venting plasma into the void. Across the galaxy, other Spectres hit their marks. Scylar-cum relays shattered in silent bursts. VR and antimatter refineries collapsed into glowing wrecks. Council cums erupted in chaos, craft commanders roaring over static, Scylar drones screeching as their hive minds stuttered. The Vren's psychic broadcasts faltered, their panic leaking across light years. On Europa, Dr. Malik Kane watched the telemetry, his glasses reflecting the data. "Bullseye," he muttered. Aisha, at her console, exhaled. "They didn't even see us coming." Kane's grin was feral. "That's the point." The Galactic Council's response was swift, but sloppy. At the apex nexus, the VR speaker scales blazed with fury. "Impossible," it hissed, its mind probing for answers but finding only confusion. The craft warlord Goreth slammed his claws into the chamber's floor. "Their tech is primitive." "How?" The Scylar hive mind, its drones twitching erratically. Buzzed, a new weapon, hidden. The Viren silenced them, its voice a psychic blade. "Deploy the Scylar swarms. Raise their colonies." A fleet of Scylar drones, glittering like a plague, jumped toward Titan, Earth's outermost stronghold. Craft dreadnoughts followed, their plasma cannons charging. The Council aimed to punish, unaware their supply lines were already bleeding. On Titan, methane lakes shimmered under a hazy sky as human defenders scrambled. Admiral Lin Zhao's voice crackled over the colony's cums from the Resolute, orbiting above. "Hold the line. Reinforcements are en route." The defenders' miners turned militia, pilots in patched fighters braced for impact. Scylar drones poured from hyperspace, a writhing mass of claws and lasers. Human frigates met them head-on, their hulls sparking under enemy fire. A young pilot, Calcine Viper, weaved through the swarm, her fighter's guns blazing. "Too many." she yelled before a drone's beam grazed her wing. She ejected, her pod tumbling toward Titan's surface. Below, colonists fired anti-air turrets, their faces grim. A grizzled miner manning a cannon muttered, "For my kids." His shot downed a drone, but dozens more closed in. Zhao's fleet fought desperately, outnumbered 10-1. The Resolute's bridge shook as a craft salvo struck its shields. "Status," Zhao barked. Her exo sweat-soaked, shouted, "Shields at 30%. Titans taking hits." Zhao's eyes flicked to a secure feed. The Spectre's second wave was mid-jump, targeting Council reinforcements. "Buy time," she ordered. Her cruisers formed a defensive ring, their point defense guns chewing through Sylar drones. On Titan, a dome cracked, venting air, but colonists sealed it with emergency patches, their training kicking in. Viper, safe in a bunker, grabbed a rifle. "Not done yet," she growled, joining the ground defense. Humanity's grit held firm, but the swarm kept coming. Back on Europa, Kane's lab buzzed with urgency. Aisha's fingers flew over her console, uploading eye patches to the Spectres. "They're adapting," she said, her voice tight. "Sylar. Drones are scanning for our stealth signatures." Kane scanned her code, nodding. "Your patch counters their freck sweeps. Upload it." Aisha hit execute, and the Spectres mid-jump recalibrated, their stealth fields tightening. Kane clapped her shoulder. "You just saved us." Aisha's smile was fleeting. "Tell me that when Titan's safe." A tech shouted, "Second waves." "Engaging." The screens showed Spectres emerging near a craft supply convoy, their warheads disabling freighters with surgical strikes. Council reinforcements faltered, their fuel lines cut. The tide turned. A Spectre Aisha's Wraith, upgraded, slipped. Past a craft flagship's defenses, its antimatter pulse frying the ship's reactor. The flagship listed, its cannons falling silent. Craftcoms screamed retreat, their discipline cracking. Sylar swarms, cut off from their hive minds relays, grew erratic, easy prey for Geo's fighters. On Titan, the defenders cheered as drones fell from the sky, their lasers dimming. Viper, firing from a trench, laughed through her helmet's static. "Eat that, bugs." Zhao, aboard the Resolute, allowed a grim smile. "Spectres are worth their weight in gold," she said. Her exo nodded. "Kane's a madman." Zhao's reply was dry. "Madmen win wars." The Council's logistics collapsed. Without fuel, their dreadnoughts drifted. Without relays, their commands lagged. The VRN speaker, its mind-fraying, summoned Dr. Elena Voss's hologram to the Apex Nexus. "Cease your attacks," it demanded, its voice no longer smug. Voss, standing in Geneva's bunker, crossed her arms. "You started this. Want peace? Treat us as equals." Gorath roared, lunging toward the hologram, but the Sylar restrained him, their drones humming nervously. The Vren's scales dimmed. "What are your terms?" it asked. Voss's voice was ice. "A treaty, shared tech, shared power. Push us." Again, and Prometheus burns your empire to ash. Her words hung heavy, humanity's threat no longer a bluff. On Earth, the Global Assembly watched the exchange, their breath held. President Afolabi leaned toward Zhao's feed. "Can we back her up?" Zhao nodded, her eyes on the Spectre data. "Third wave's ready if they flinch." Kane, linked from Europa, chimed in. "They won't. Their fleets are dead in the water." Isiha, monitoring Wraith's telemetry, added, "We've got more drones spooling up. They try anything, we hit harder." The Assembly's mood shifted, fear giving way to pride. Humanity, the galaxy's upstart, had bloodied the Councils. "Knows," Afolabi's voice was firm. "Elena, close the deal. Show them who we are." Voss's hologram stared down the Council, her presence unshakable. "You thought you'd break us," she said. "You thought we'd beg. Instead, we built. Something you can't stop. Sign the treaty, or we keep going." The VRN speaker's mind brushed hers, probing for doubt, but found only resolve. The craft's warlord slumped, his seat creaking under his weight. The Sylar's chittering stopped, their drones still. The chamber once ruled by fear now echoed with humanity's defiance. The council aide, a minor species, began drafting terms, its tentacles trembling. Voss watched, her eyes unyielding, Earth's terrifying answer etched into the stars. Dr. Elena Voss stood in the Galactic Council's chamber on the Apex Nexus, no longer a hologram but flesh and blood, her boots ringing on the crystalline floor. The VRN speaker's scales flickered weakly, its psychic voice subdued. "The treaty is drafted," it said, projecting a holo document. "Equal status for Earth, shared antimatter tech, and a council seat." Craft warlord Gorath glared, his claws flexing, but stayed silent. The Sylar hive mind's drones hovered listlessly, their unity frayed. Voss scanned the terms, her face unreadable. "This works," she said, "but we'll enforce it. Cross U.S. and Prometheus finishes what it started." She signed with a stylus, her signature a bold slash. The Vren's mind brushed hers, probing for deceit, but found only steel. The chamber's air grew heavy, the council's arrogance replaced by grudging respect. Voss turned and left, her silhouette framed by the neutron star's glow. On Earth, celebrations erupted. Tokyo's megascreens flashed the treaty signing, crowds cheering in neon-lit streets. In Lagos, drummers led impromptu parades, their rhythms echoing humanity's pulse. Mars colonists, their domes still scarred from Sylar attacks, raised glasses in cramped bars, toasting survival. President Afolabi addressed the planet from Geneva, his voice steady. "We stood against the galaxy and won," he said. "Not with hate, but with grit. This is who we are." Billions watched, their pride a tangible force. In Europa's lab, Dr. Malat Kane and Aisha Rahman monitored Spectre telemetry, ensuring no council tricks. "Think they'll behave?" Aisha asked, her eyes on a drone's feed. Kane snorted. "They better. We've got enough wraiths to ruin their day." Aisha grinned, her exhaustion giving way to hope. The treaty's impact rippled beyond Earth. On distant worlds, young species oppressed by the Council's iron grip whispered of humanity's defiance. A reptilian envoy from the Zeker system contacted Earth, seeking alliance. "You broke their chains," their message read. "Teach us how." In the Orion Arm, a rogue Sylar sub-hive, inspired by Earth's tactics, sabotaged a Krath outpost, sparking unrest. The Council's unity cracked, its ancient species bickering over blame. Voss, back in Geneva, briefed the Global Assembly. "We've lit a fire," she said. "The galaxy's watching. We lead by example now." Admiral Lin Zhao, linked from the Resolute, nodded. "Our fleets stay ready. Peace doesn't mean trust." The Assembly agreed, Earth's new role as a galactic power cemented. Kane and Pand. Aisha walked Europa's icy tunnels, their breath fogging in the cold. A holoscreen showed Prometheus's next phase, civilian antimatter reactors for colonies, not weapons. "From war to progress," Aisha said, her voice soft. Kane adjusted, his glasses, his grin gone. "That's the human way. Build, fight, build again." Aisha pointed to a schematic of a Spectre variant, its warhead replaced with a survey probe. "Think we'll need these?" Kane's eyes gleamed. "Hope not, but we'll keep a few armed, just in case." Their laughter echoed, a mix of relief and readiness. Earth's colonies buzzed with similar plans. Mars domes expanded, Titan's lakes powered by new reactors. Humanity's reach growing. Zhao stood on a lunar observatory's deck, Earth a blue marble in the sky. Her uniform was crisp, but her eyes held the weight of battles fought. The Resolute orbited nearby, its hull patched but proud. A come from Viper, the Titan pilot, crackled through. "Admiral, we're rebuilding. Kids are calling the drones Star Savers. You good?" Zhao's smile was rare, genuine. Good enough. Keep those fighters ready. Viper laughed. Always. Zhao's gaze returned to Earth, her mind on the treaty. The Council feared humanity now, their whispers of Prometheus spreading like wildfire. Other species, curious or wary, sent envoys to Earth, drawn by its audacity. Zhao's hand rested on the observatory's rail, her voice a murmur. We've earned this. Whatever's next, we'll face it. Rumors of a new threat stirred in the galaxy's fringes. A scout ship from Ceres reported strange signals in the Oort cloud faint, coded, unlike any Council tech. Kane's lab flagged it as a priority, Aisha already tweaking sensors for a Spectre recon mission. In Geneva, Voss met with Zeker diplomats, their talks hinting at a shared defense pact. Earth's factories hummed, producing both probes and warships, humanity's duality on display. Ephilabi, addressing the assembly, spoke plainly. We're not conquerors, but we're not prey either. The stars are ours to shape. His words, broadcast across colonies, ignited resolve. Children on Europa drew wraiths in their tablets. They're heroes, not knights, but drones. Zhao's final log, recorded in the observatory, captured Earth's spirit. 50 years ago, we nearly lost our world, she said, her voice steady. Now we've humbled a galaxy. Not with size, but with will. Prometheus was our answer, but it's our people, coders, miners, pilots, who made it real. We'll guard this peace, and if something darker waits out there, we'll meet it head on. She cut the recording, her eyes on the stars. Earth's cities glowed below. Its colonies thrived beyond, and its fleets patrolled the void. Humanity, once dismissed, now loomed large, its legacy a warning and a promise. The galaxy would never forget the day Earth answered back.